Video games inspire wonder at the concepts, locations, and characters they contain. Their complexity can be daunting, and they might cause confusion when a story says one thing now and another later. I'm Justin Newlam. Let's ask some questions. The World of Warcraft has had a rough relationship with the Void. The usual explanation for the enemy status of the Void is that it is among the evil elements of the world. Whether raid boss or overworld mob, we most frequently have encountered the Void as enemies. Is the Void evil then, or is it more nuanced than that? To begin our investigation, we need to start with the current lore about the Void's origin and nature. The origin of Void in Warcraft is the light. According to the Titans, the universe was initially nothing but light and the positive emotions that light embodies. Eventually, some parts of this positivity turned to negativity and corrupted the light around it, creating Void. Whether this means that beings of light became beings of Void due to their emotions changing, or something more primal, is unclear. Either way, Void clearly comes from these negative emotions, and it seeks to satisfy those emotions with power. This hunger for power defines most beings of the Void, from the mysterious Void Lords to the lowly Void Walkers. The Void must consume in order to satisfy its hunger, and this sets it in opposition to the things that it tries to consume. The Void beings with the greatest hunger are the Void Lords, who have difficulty manifesting on the physical plane, and therefore seek to drown the world in Void so that they can consume it. To do this, they seek to corrupt the most powerful beings possible. Their sights were set on the Titans, but they found the living ones too resistant and instead decided to corrupt one before it could be born. This meant they needed to corrupt as many planets as possible, because they couldn't know which ones had Titan souls. To do this, they created the Old Gods, essentially sentient Void tumors, and sent them across the universe to try to get lucky finding and corrupting a world soul. Azeroth turned out to have been exactly the lucky break they were looking for, and they would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for those meddling Titans and their cosmic power. The Titans found that the Old Gods were too far into corrupting Azeroth to safely remove, however, so instead they tried to contain them. We as players have been encountering them and their forces due to the prisons weakening over time, usually with us trying to stop them from fully escaping said prisons. The only forces to use Void that aren't enemies are the Void Elves and Shadow Priests. Shadow Priests have existed as long as humanoids have sought power, since the Old Gods predate the humanoid races of Azeroth and have always been willing to give power to those willing to help them with their goals. Player Shadow Priests are seen much like warlocks, not being trusted by the majority of the populace, but being tolerated for their assistance. The entire race of Void Elves are a recent development and are treated much the same way, being seen as a danger to their allies, but a powerful resource for war. All of these allies that use the Void have to be very strong-willed to use it without being corrupted by the will of the Void Lords. And it is unclear from characters like Ilaria Windrunner whether the whispers that tempt Void users come from the Void itself or from other powerful entities that use the Void as well. So we can see that in every part of history that the Void plays a part in, it is usually the antagonist of someone. It seems to always act in its own interest, and even those that try to work with it are always at risk of being controlled or consumed by it. This makes it very hard to argue for it being anything but evil. However, the nature of Void is not necessarily something that it chooses. This means that for all the bad it does, it's not being malicious by choice. Whether you consider the Void evil is similar to whether you would consider a predator evil for hunting prey. Void is mostly just doing what is in its nature, and while there is the possibility that in the future Blizzard will introduce the idea that the Void can grow beyond the motivation of just feeding its face, until then, I don't think it's particularly fair to call the Void evil. Yo! Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and leave a comment so I know you want more videos like this. If If you want to know when new uploads arrive, subscribe and hit the bell icon to have YouTube send you a notification. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.